So the time between OUAs and U Sports is interesting because you're almost ready for it to be U Sports right away. You're like, okay, we're ready to go. Like, I wish it could just be like this weekend. But at the same time, you do need that recovery. It's a big come down from OUAs. And that's, I kind of think, what happened to us last year. Obviously, coming off that high of the double banner at OUAs, it's not like we were celebrating every night, but there was just still that emotion and that rush of the euphoria of what had happened, that we didn't quite switch gears quick enough. It wasn't like, okay, now on to the next one. And we were very much able to do that this time around because we knew all along that that was the bigger goal. So yeah, just a lot of easy practices in that week, in those weeks in between, where, you know, people are showing up, they're doing a couple runs, a couple jumps, and we're shutting things down, and we're just trying to keep the energy really high. We're trying to keep the positivity really high and just trying to keep people healthy.
You know, I really think that it was an advantage because our OUA championships was the dress rehearsal. You know, it was in the same, we compete in Windsor. I mean, I know some of our athletes would like to travel and go elsewhere for championships, and we would try to, you know, have the best possible performance, even particularly if we had the team that we had this year there. But that wasn't the case. We knew we were going to be back at Windsor, and I think that was part of our mental preparation too. Like, this is familiar. This is no different. You've performed well here before. You're going to perform well here again. You know, it's not that like it's new. The only thing new is that you've got more athletes wearing green from around the country, or, you know, your competitors are different, but there's so many. I think that it was comforting for our athletes.
The 2025 U Sports Men's Student Athlete Community Service Award goes to Aaron Thompson.
Yeah, it's great to get awards based on your athletic performance, and it's great to get awards based on your academic performance, but to get an award that basically displays what good you do for the community in addition to academics, in addition to athletics, but to really emphasize the entirety of who you are as a person, that means a lot to me. And I do really prioritize serving in my community, and that's something that the coaches and the team have helped facilitate, right? They've provided me with these opportunities a lot of the time, which I then am able to take and pass on to develop other people in my community and develop myself as well. And I've learned a lot from the experiences that I've gained serving my community, and those have all come in to help support me as a person and really develop me into the person that I am. So I'm very thankful for all those opportunities, and to have an award that reflects that means a lot to me.
And the winner is Favor Polly from
That was like an even bigger surprise than like the OUA award. I was in shock, like, especially like seeing like what other like athletes have done, because like they showed like the face of different athletes, and then I see myself and they're like, you, and I'm like, are we joking, like me? Like it was so amazing. And then I got to get it from like Olympians that I look up to, so it was just a great experience overall.
And the winner for the top U Sports.
From elementary school, I put all my medals on my wall, and I started on one wall, kind of moved to the second wall, and I like to keep it in one row. So I moved to the third wall and kind of running out of space there. So I have all my U Sports and OUA medals at my house here. Put them up in the same way, kind of running out of space. And then I kept all my my track awards and my trophies on my window ledge, kind of running out of space there. So hopefully we have some space back home for them to take.
In lane 3, she is your Ontario University champion with a time of 7.22 seconds 2 weeks ago from the University of Western Ontario, Vivian Ogor.
Like, I was just like so excited, and I felt just like a sense of like calmness because we've competed at Windsor so many times. I run really well there. I'm used to running there. So obviously there's pressure, but I didn't feel like this is like do or die. Like, I was just going out there to have fun. My only goal was to just get to the end of the finish line first.
To have one of the top runners in the 60, it really sets the tone for the entire weekend. So coming off of OUAs, Viv was ranked first. She had run a personal best, but at OUAs, she just dipped out the number 2 runner, Gabby. So to be honest, I was super nervous for Viv, just because when 2 athletes are running that fast, honestly, you never know what's going to happen in a 60. If you are off by just a little bit, you could come in 7th or you could win it. So I knew Viv could do it. She had been running super well throughout the season. Physically, she was probably in the best place that she had been throughout the entire season. So it was just a matter of keeping her confident and not trying to overthink it. She has never won a U Sport. She came second last year to now the Canadian record holder in the 100 and 200, Audrey. So again, just with how much work she's put in, I just wanted her to kind of be able to have that cherry on top. So her heats were super comfortable. And once she walked back to me, I could kind of tell that she knew that she was in a good spot. And then she just had to kind of execute in the finals. And thankfully she was able to do that, and she ran a spectacular time.
I have a really good reaction, so I knew if I got like my start right, then I knew I could do it. So yeah, like honestly, just a secret is I played around with my blocks a little bit. I kind of went one step higher than I usually do, just to like so I can be lower and drive a little bit more. So that might be the new cue, but yeah, just I knew my start was probably one of the best in the field, so I knew if I got out on everybody, then I'd be able to hold it as well. And yeah, that's what I did.
To sweep the 60 meters was huge for us. And you never want to jinx it. You never want to get too far ahead of yourself. But I really had a feeling after day one that we were going to do this. And it's crazy that you can have the depth and the talent that our team had. And it's like going into day one, there's still some fears. Like, we don't know, like anything could happen. We saw it last year. Anything can happen. I felt so confident after day one that not only that we had the team, but this team was ready to fight. Like, these athletes were hungry. Emmanuel wasn't even ranked. And he came out here and he won. Probably the most challenging event that you can win at U Sports, right? 60 meters. It's milliseconds that are separating these guys. He raced twice all year. Sprained his hamstring really early in the season. His training was not ideal, and he fought and he fought and he rehabbed so hard, and he won U Sports. I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to forget just the energy in that moment, the way that the team totally, like, everybody wanted it for him so bad, and the way that he was embraced by everybody afterwards was just so beautiful. And again, this is a guy that we all only met like 8 months ago. Like, it was really a testament to the team, the way that moved everybody.
Yeah, that was also a really special moment too. Doing that, going 1-2 at that national stage was a really special moment. I know going into the race that we were probably the two favorites, but there was some really good competition with some of the guys out west, so I know it was going to be really tough. And we had, instead of OUAs at U Sports, there's heats and finals, so we were not used to that, so we had to come back like an hour and a half later and run again, which is pretty challenging. But going into that final again, I kind of wanted to go as hard as possible, like I did at OUA. Because I know Aaron would go really hard too, and I was in lane 6, he was in lane 5 again. So I was hoping that I wouldn't see him until the end, and kind of the exact same thing played out. But ultimately, Aaron ended up passing me the last kind of home stretch, the last 30 meters, and on that day he had, I guess, more legs than me at the end, which was tough because of course I want to win, but if I can't win, he's the next guy I want to win for sure. So I was really happy for him, and it was a really special moment. And I remember there's a photo I think I saw where he was crossing the line, I was like smiling right behind him. I think I was just super happy for him to come back and achieve his goals, because he had a really tough season last year where he had crazy good performances leading up to OUAs and U Sports, but then he ended up having a really tough injury at U Sports where he broke his leg. So being super close to him and seeing his journey to come back from that injury was really special, and he works really hard and he deserves all the success that he's gotten. So I was really proud and happy for him to see that success, and that was a great moment on the Friday of U Sports.
I'm feeling really good that day, and that usually doesn't happen the day before or the day of races, especially a longer race like a 3 or a 4. I'm usually very in my own head, very nervous, but for some reason I felt fully different that day. And it was a kind of confidence that I hadn't felt before. But I think referring back to U Sports 2024 in Winnipeg, in breaking my leg during that 300 there, and seeing the process that I've been through over the entire past year, it kind of came together for me in that moment at this U Sports that, okay, well, I put in the time, I've put in the effort, I've rehabbed this, and I've worked hard. Why can't it be my turn, right? And so I showed up with a sort of confidence that I hadn't had before. And going through the prelim, it was the smoothest and best feeling prelim I've ever felt. I felt smooth and strong throughout, and the time on the scoreboard reflected that, and it was a time that I'm happy with and I'm proud of. I believe it was lane 6. Which kind of, goes to show what I was saying before. I love lane 6. And I knew I needed to go hard in that prelim, like I said, in order to get a good spot in the final. And me and Josh had that same strategy. And for that reason, we were together in the A final, and I was lane 5, he was lane 6. And like I was saying before, he's a good person to pace yourself off of, because that he's going to run a good race no matter what, because he is so consistent and so good that, his strategies are always going to be pretty darn near perfect. Whereas me, I kind of jump back and forth all over the place. So I'm quite thankful that he was in lane 6, because, when that gun went off, my entire goal was, okay, I have to catch him as quick as I can. And I tend to be a front half of the race runner because I have good speed. So I try to catch the person to the outside of me as quick as I can and then just hold on for dear life. Whereas Josh has unbelievable endurance and speed endurance. So he will get out really hard, but then he'll be able to maintain that. But there comes a point with about 80 meters left in the race where you can tell who's going to win that race. If you're neck and neck and you're on the inside lane, there's a good chance that you're going to take that race unless you fully blow up. And that's almost always the case, but this time I really wasn't too sure, because again, Josh just has that strength deep down where he can finish a race so strong that you're never really too sure. But I think the bit of confidence that I'd carried into the day really is what carried me through. And, crossing that line is a pretty otherworldly experience, because, you won. And for me, it was the idea of completing that full circle moment from a year ago, and having overcome all those challenges, having overcome those issues, having spent all this time and money in physio and rehab, it made it all worth it. And it's a testament to Taylor and Vicky and the work that they put in with the team, and testament to how hard Josh works that he was able to carry me to that victory, and also a testament to how hard I've worked as well. And all experiences that I'm very grateful for, but that 300 is one that I will probably never forget.
It's nice for her because she's been at esports so often, that she doesn't get too stressed about kind of executing. We come up with a plan beforehand, and that's a plan that we're going to go with. So being there, again, it's just another track meet for her. And she does get nervous, obviously, everybody does, but really just trying to focus on the plan and how we wanted to execute it was just the way that we had talked about it kind of going in, and she was able to deliver.
Yeah, that was the goal always. Like in the 3, my only goal was just to just get out of the blocks hard, run the race, and like try to dip at the end. Like same as the 600, just like get out hard, hold on, and try to like hold whatever you have at the end, like just kick. Yeah, like a lot of people like want to say like my goal is to win, but like honestly, like I'm always like more looking at the time and like doing my best. And if I gave it 1,000% and I come 8th or 7th, I will still be as happy as if I came first.
When I stepped on the start line, it was like all the nerves kind of like, they were there, but it was like, okay, I'm okay. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I've done this a bunch of times. And then like once the race started, it was a sit and kick race, which kind of plays to my strengths a lot. But yeah, it was not overly fast for the first 600. And then it broke open and sped up a lot. And I finished like 2/10 behind the winner and I was second. So definitely made me like hungry for more because I was like, she was right there. But I also like, with it being my first U Sports medal, like that was a huge like goal achieved for me and one of my main goals coming into the season. And hopefully I'll have a 5th year where I can get that gold.
Yeah, so the 3,000, I knew that this time I wanted to perform better, at least tactically. I wanted to go in every race trying to win. And it was quite a slow first kilometer. I just stuck in behind the girl who had won OUAs, and she really ramped up the last 2K, and I really thought I was going to win that day, and I stuck on her, and I just didn't have it in the last 200. So I was a little disappointed to not feel my best in the last 200, but, you know, I can't be too disappointed with second. I went into the race, honestly, I was feeling pretty negative that morning. I think reflecting on how the 1K went and just how I felt. And I was really just not in a great headspace and not feeling confident when I really should have been. I think just the accumulation of OUAs not going my way and then the 1K going pretty terribly. I wasn't feeling too confident, but what really got me through was really just wanting to make a big impact to the team. I think if Sophie and I had scored a lot of points, that pretty much would have sealed the team title for us, being one of the last events on day 3. So luckily we have, which is the same as the 1K, we have an upper waterfall and a lower waterfall. And I think one of my downfalls in the 1K was I was on the lower waterfall and I got really boxed at the start. But because I came in right first, we had the top 4 girls on the upper waterfall, so I got a really good start, which was great. And I honestly found myself on the shoulder of the girl leading in the front and didn't let anyone pass. Like I was right. I said I'm not going to make the mistake I did at OUAs where I'd rather run a little bit of extra distance and not get myself on the inside. And we weren't going like super fast, so I said I'll just stay on the outside. And then I made a hard move with 400 to go and gapped the field. I mean, I had no idea where I even was. I was kind of just going. And unfortunately got caught in the last 50. I mean, I didn't know the girl from UFT, Julia, was coming. So I think that stung a lot the last bit when I saw her pass me. Like at that point, there wasn't a lot of time to react to that move. And
definitely replayed it over and over and over again. It's just like, oh, just kind of slipped away. And I know moving forward, like, when I make that assertive move of making sure I need to drive to the line a little bit more and not getting too comfortable when I'm in the lead. But it was my first national medal, and proud of like the last few seasons I've dealt with a lot of injuries, and even this year. So especially coming back from the disappointment in the 1K and at OUAs not making the podium, I mean, it wasn't the best outcome it could have been, but I was still like really happy to contribute to the team and make my first national podium.
Kenneth ends up jumping 788, which ties the U Sports record. He didn't want to tie, he wanted it outright. And what's funny with that is 12 years earlier at then the CIS championships, Taylor jumped 787 to be 1 centimeter off of the national record. So I was just thinking, one way or another, we just got to get this like once and for all. So that was in Kenneth's 4th round, I think. So then he had a couple jumps left. He starts running down the runway in one of his final attempts. I don't remember which one. And he stops running and he grabs his leg, and I just go full panic mode, which he knows. So immediately he's just like, it's just a calf cramp. It's just a calf cramp. And we can deal with a calf cramp. So I wanted to, at that point, withdraw from the competition. Look, like we want to be able to triple jump tomorrow, so let's not try to compete through this and potentially strain it. And he's agreeable to that. But then it comes his turn to jump in the 6th round, and I see him standing at the back of the runway, and I kind of saw his weekend flash before my eyes. I knew that it wasn't a good idea, so I jump the barricade and I go to run down there. It's so loud in there, right? So like I'm trying to signal to him. He also doesn't have the best eyesight, so he can't see me down there. And I'm trying to tell him like, Kenneth, like, no, it's not worth it. We're done. And he's just too fast, so I didn't get to him in time. And in the end, the same thing happened halfway down the runway. He stopped. I'm very glad that he has that type of awareness to know that he shouldn't have jumped through that. So he stopped. So that was a little bittersweet, right? I know that if he could have got those last 2 jumps in, not only could he have gotten the record outright, but, likely could have been over 8 meters. But again, left a little something in the tank and some hunger for the next day in triple jump.
I've never been able to have like a fully healthy long jump competition at a national meet. Like every outdoor nationals I've been at, there's like a minor injury or something. Every U Sports, I've dealt with another injury as well, and kind of triple jump was more of the focus. So I'm just gonna go out there, like jump, have all 6 jumps. That was the goal, and I jumped as far as I could. Sorry, I jumped the U Sports record in my 4th round jump, which is farther than I've ever jumped in the 4th round. So I thought there was kind of more coming, more in the tank for the last 2. And then unfortunately, I started getting cramps in my calves, which was just the worst timing. And I was on the runway, like very unexpected. There was no like signs or anything. Like I made sure that I hydrated well, I was fueling well, like everything seemed like it was okay. It was very random that like 4th round I felt fine. 5th round on the runway, few strides in, I had to pull up, and everyone kind of thought that I pulled my hamstring or something, like, but I was just, no, it's a cramp. So I kind of had to call it, and then I called the trainers over, chugged some mustard down, try to get all the electrolytes I could to get the last jump in. And then back on the runway, same thing again, had to call it. And then I knew I had triple jump the next day, so I had to kind of make sure I was recovering well. Got home, got to the hotel, got treatment, and then just, refocus.
Yeah, I always think, just could have been, I need one more throw just to get it. But I was very happy with my result. It was over 16 meters. My main goal of going to competition is to have fun. And I had so much fun with all the competitors. Technically, things were starting to click. And it was to the point where it's like, it's almost there. Like, it just needs a couple more practices to make it click. for shot anyways. And I ended up going to Canadian Nationals after, and it ended up clicking there. Another record there, which was very exciting. But weight throw was a tough challenge because I went in ranked third. My PB 1918 that season, I was sitting first for a while. But there's a couple of really good throwers from Windsor and out in Lethbridge that really pushed me, and I love that. I love that I have to chase. It gets me really fired up, and I definitely think I could have done better in weight, but again, I don't focus on it as much, so I'm happy coming out with a third on an event that I don't prioritize. But yeah, I was very happy for the other two girls as well. So.
Connor Bedard had one of the all-time greatest World Junior performances in a recent history. And as a former AAA hockey player for many years, hockey has always had an influence on my life, and it still to this day is part of the reason why I'm at this school, because my club coach convinced Vicky that I was similar to one of her current athletes who had been a hockey player and had great success with her team. So you kind of have different kind of mentality. Like, yes, you're on a team sport. It's similar to soccer or football or something like that. But a lot of the times the grit and intensity is what defines what the hockey players are about. But I was inspired because I was never a big goal scorer. I was always the hard worker, and I would be the one going to get the puck for the goal scorers. So it was always something I was thinking about because I knew I was going to be the anchor again. And I knew that we had the film and there was going to be multiple photographers. So getting ready for that and kind of not telling anyone, not preparing anyone was the main point for me, so that I could make sure that it was unexpected. And people, it was unexpected but also expected, because people from last year, except for the rookies, kind of knew what might come. But it's just a lot of fun to get the team kind of fired up, I guess, especially after a big win like that.
Kenneth, doing typical Kenneth things, does his first jump, 16 meters. There's another strong triple jumper from Manitoba, so it's not necessarily a given, but it's a great jump to put out there, and, his odds were pretty good for winning the whole thing. Benusian, first year, comes out on his first jump, 15:02 PB, never been over 15 meters, and he was just over the moon. Like, that is a barrier that he's been trying to break for a long time. So to see him do that as a first-year athlete, an 18-year-old kid, on this stage for the first time, to see him do that was really special. And he is just so inspired and motivated by Kenneth. So to have, the GOAT of horizontal jumps kind of leading the way for this young man who's going to do incredible things in the sport, it was a really cool moment to witness them both finally competing in the same meet.
Yeah, I jumped well enough in the first round to secure the win, but I wanted to, again, I was feeling really good. I thought I could have pushed myself a bit further. Kind of waited until my body settled down and I felt good enough to do another jump, and that was the 6th round. And this moment was really special for me because the crowd was humongous. Both days, long jump and shoulder jump, the crowd was huge. I had family there, a lot of the team was there, friends from other schools were there, just people watching. So, which is pretty cool because esports doesn't really have, doesn't get a crowd that big very often. But I was there really taking in that this was going to be my last esports jump, and I started the clap, and the clap was the loudest clap I've ever heard. I heard, it felt like this whole stadium was kind of quiet, and I don't know, it felt very it felt like I don't know, like a movie, one of those special moments. And so then I knew this was going to be my last jump, kind of gave it everything. But not in triple jump you can't do too much, otherwise you kind of throw yourself off. So try to stay composed, feed off the adrenaline, and then to execute this last jump. It was a far jump. It was really far, the farthest I've ever jumped. and they marked it as just a little toe fault. So they had to scratch it, unfortunately. And actually, funny story is the lady who was, or the official who was doing the at the fault board was my high school track and field coach, who's like my #1 supporter. So it was kind of poetic in that way. I knew, had some banter with her after. I told her, I was like, "Sweet, you didn't have to call me on that one." Just a centimeter. No, but it was a clear fault. They measured it afterwards, which is pretty cool, just as like a last round thing. But yeah, so 2 events, very different approaches, but just kind of try to have fun with both of them.
Champion d'équipe U-Sport, U-Sport Team Champion, Women's Track and Field, avec un pointage de 118 points with 190 points, Western
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And seeing the work that everybody on an individual level has put in, culminate in that in those final moments is pretty nuts, to be honest. And yeah, just trying to soak it all in, drink it in. I remember Taylor giving me a big hug, and yeah, just the best moment, and that I won't forget for a while.
It was the accumulation of the group effort. It wasn't that every single person had their best day. I mean, I didn't have my best day, but I still contributed, and I think that was the really special thing about the team, is that the priority was the team, and we all just gave our best on the day. So it's really cool. I know, like, we're making history. The women's cross-country team, even though it was a tough season for me being a part of that team and not having won in 34 years was pretty special. And then to come back and win both the men and the women, which was in track, was amazing. I think the women's team being really close to winning last year, getting beat by Guelph, really hurt. But I don't think last year, knowing that both the women and the men would have won, like, I didn't see that coming. I mean, I think going into championships, we all knew what could happen, but just how amazing this team is, I think it's a special team, and just happy that we were able to get the job done on like all sides of it.
Winning the Coaching of the Year awards really does allow me to recognize my staff and my coaches, because if it wasn't for them, like, the athletes make the coaches look great. The assistant coaches make the head coach look great too. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have had the success that we have. I mean, they go above and beyond in so many different ways, and they're all different. And I find having a staff of coaches, it's also fun. It's like having a team of different personalities. Like, I've got to manage the staff, how we manage the athletes too. So everybody, kind of gets on the same page, gives their own special, twist to their athletes, because they're all different too. And I've been incredibly lucky. And, 3 of my other coaches are also in their final year as Mustang coaches. So that was special as well. And we recognize them at our team awards and at the Mustang coaching awards night. Like, the 4 of us are all going out to celebrate after. So we've, all 3 of them were Mustangs. And that's the key, right, to maintaining. I think the way our program has evolved, before me. So with Bob Biggers at the helm, 45, 55 years ago, I really do think that having alumni involved in your program is what's going to keep this type of program continuing.
sense of relief that, wow, we actually finally did it. And we did it for Vicky. And this is something like she's been wanting. And like both men and women's team both did it. And it's like, that's like history. And it's like legacy that will continue to happen. It was just like being a part of that whole experience was just like, I can't even like put it into words. It was just like so surreal.
Yeah, Vicky's definitely like almost like a second mom to us. Like the Western team is kind of like a second family. Obviously, we spend more time with them than I do my own family. And Vicky's kind of the one who facilitated all that. And she puts in like so much effort to make that happen for us. So that's something like everyone on the team, I think, will be grateful for a long time. Like these are memories that we're going to have for the rest of our lives, connections we're going to have for the rest of our lives.
For her to get that in that last meet of being a head coach was just, she was overwhelmed. I think everybody else was overwhelmed as well, but it was kind of just the way of Western track saying thank you to her for the 30 years of her life that she put into it. So I'm happy that we're able to be a part of it. And obviously we're happy that we won as well, but it's mostly like we kind of tried to do it for her.
It just seemed like, the best way for someone to walk up and get the trophy. Our team has a really good culture of, the men supporting the women supporting the men. So it just felt fitting to start the tunnel and give them their path or their red carpet up to collecting the women's national championship trophy.
He's changed up some things this year with the team, but I don't know. I just all saw them. They were just getting up with their hands, and I was like, I guess we're going under. And I don't know. It was a very cool thing, and it made a statement for our team that both our teams support each other equally. And even like when we won our silver last year at U Sports, that they still did "We Love Our Women," and they were so proud of us, even though like they didn't get a medal that year. But I think that's just another way of showing how much our team stands around each other as a family.
Assisting us is Cheryl.
It was so amazing. Like, it was something that I had to like replay in my mind when I was like visualizing U Sports and like trying to get into the like, okay, it's showtime like mindset. So like actually it being real and not just something that my mind is made up was so amazing. And like seeing something that has never done in history before being done and being like a part of that and getting to contribute to that was such a great experience.
All of the emotions that I felt, I feel like they were heightened throughout the meet as people were like, surpassing their personal best themselves. Watching three guys get into the 60 hurdle final, watching Emmanuel like overcome injury riddled season to be able to stand at the top of the podium. Those are the moments that stood out to me. Like Zach Courtney finally clearing 206 to outperform his seed and show why he's really truly deserving of being on the national stage. And those are the things that like really filled me with joy. But just being able to say that, being able to share that moment with the captains who had come before me. I had Matt Endome, the outgoing captain from the year before. I had him on FaceTime. He's in the like United Kingdom, and then Ryan Evans was there watching and supporting. So it was really good to share that moment with the guys who kind of I want to say spearheaded the belief that a national championship was possible, but hearing it, holding the trophy for the first time and wearing a gold medal around your neck, it just made, the sense of belonging and a purpose for being a part of something much bigger than yourself, just so much more fulfilling.
I'm super lucky to be surrounded by really, really great athletes on the distance side, and many of them, did amazing performances at every meet. And just being able to kind of be there and, help them along the way was really, really nice. But at the same time, the whole group is pretty old, so we're all I would say we're all pretty good leaders in the sense that we all, help each other out, check in on everyone, that kind of thing. Because, the Coots are the youngest in the distance squad, and they're fourth year, so it's quite an old group, which is really fun, and it makes it pretty easy to lead and to run and train with them and everything.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and seeing the work that everybody on an individual level has put in culminate in that those final moments is pretty nuts, to be honest. And yeah, just trying to soak it all in, drink it in. I remember Taylor giving me a big hug, and yeah, just the best moment, and that I won't forget for a while.
One, two, three, Mustangs!
Come on.